Okay, Oak Rovers, this is going to be my second video helping you with factoring special cases. Hopefully you've already watched the first video, which helped you with problem number 23, parts A and B. This video is going to help you with problem number 24. But it's also going to help you when you do your Khan Academy work. And this is going to be a good problem for Khan exercises factoring quadratics 2. If you do the Khan exercise factoring quadratics 2, you'll probably have some things that you haven't seen yet before. So this video is going to help you really understand those problems better. Now the key to doing this problem is before I actually put the numbers into my generic rectangle and diamond problem, I'm going to factor a number out of my quadratic when it's written as a sum. Right now my quadratic, well, as it's written as a sum, is 4x squared minus 10x minus 6. All three of those parts have a 2 in common. They all have a factor of 2. So before I do this, I'm going to factor a 2 out of this quadratic as it's written as a sum. So when I factor a 2 out, I have 2 times 2x squared, because that's equal to 4x squared, 2 times negative 5x, because that's equal to negative 10x, and 2 times negative 3, because that's equal to negative 6. Now the part that I have inside the parentheses, that's what I'm going to put into my generic rectangle and diamond problem and solve. So my bottom left hand corner of my generic rectangle, I'm going to put a 2x squared there because I have 2x squareds inside that parentheses. And similarly, I'm going to put a negative 3 up in my upper right hand corner. Now these two boxes have to add up to the middle part of my quadratic in standard form when it's written as a sum. So it's got to add up to negative 5. So let's go ahead and put that negative 5x down there. I guess it's negative 5x, not negative 5. It's got to add up to negative 5x. But the product of these two boxes has to be the same as the product of these two boxes. 2x squared times negative 3 is negative 6x squared. So I'm going to have to find a product of negative 6x squared and a sum of negative 5x. Since it has a negative product, I know one of my factors has to be positive and the other has to be negative. And if I look at my two factors, my bigger one has to be negative and the positive one's got to be smaller. So my two factors I figured out are negative 6x and x, because negative 6x times x is negative 6x squared, and negative 6x plus x is negative 5. So let's put those two pieces into my generic rectangle. Now I can factor something out of my bottom row. They both have an x in common, so that's what I'm going to factor out. If this dimension is x and my area is 2x squared, this length has to be 2x. If this length is 2x and my area is negative 6x, this length has to be negative 3. If this length is x and my area is x, then this length has to be 1. Now, here is probably the most important part of this. When I write this problem as a sum and a product, I know that this dimension is 2x plus 1, and this dimension is x minus 3. They've got to be included, but I also can't forget about this 2. So when I write it as a product and sum, the sum is 4x squared minus 10x minus 6 is equal to 2x plus 1, which is this dimension, times x minus 3, which is that dimension, but I can't forget that 2 because I factored the 2 out before I did the problem. And that's an important part to remember, and that's a mistake most people make when they do this. So when you factor that 2 out, you got to remember that when you write it as a product at the very end of the problem.